A 2x2 portal surrounded by pretty flowers. A familiar sight to all Minecraft fans. An experience I am yet to have for myself. Will you take the plunge with me? Perfect. Then let's take the plunge into the Twilight Forest. We'll face off with 9 bosses haunting these woods, traverse the awe-inspiring landscapes, and run into plenty of side quests and hijinks along the way. My name is J Studios, and I do hope you enjoy this little tale. Our story begins like all the good ones do, by punching wood and assaulting defenseless animals. Instead of throwing myself straight into the Twilight Forest, I figured I'd start normally in the overworld, so I can gather some basic materials such as wood, coal, iron. Have you seen how high frogs can jump? Look at them! I haven't seen these bad boys in the wild before, so they give me a little bit of a fright. After a fulfilling day of flower picking and running in circles, we rest our head on our sleeping bag. I've added a few quality of life mods like this map and backpacks in the sleeping bag in order to make my life easier, and I'll have the full mod list in the description below. The next day I followed the coast around to a savannah village which I pillaged for all it was worth, which wasn't much. But at least I have bread for days. Sensing that this village may have been a bust, I crafted a boat to sail the high seas. Fortunately, before I set sail, I opened my map and spotted a village I would have otherwise missed. Can you see why I added this? So I changed course and headed towards the village, sleeping away our second night outside the village. Day 3 included coal mining and even more pillaging, before I climbed to the top of the hill to spot a cave. In order to make a portal to the Twilight Forest, we are going to need 1 diamond, along with any iron or other natural resources that we can find. All this prep will make our transition into the Twilight Forest easier. While I searched this cave, I thought I'd tell you about my new skin. If you've seen my previous Minecraft videos, then you know I love having a skin for every occasion. Honestly, it's becoming a bit of a problem. I have more skins than I'll ever have a use for. But that aside, I made another one for the pile. A fun adventure skin based loosely off these images from Pinterest. Honestly shocked that I've never made this kind of fantasy skin before, but better late than never. Finding just these few reference pictures was a struggle. People said Pinterest was overrun with AI, but I didn't realize just how bad it had got until I went looking for something like this. So if you have any recommendations for sites similar to Pinterest with less AI, then please let me know. Here we have it, the item we've been searching for, conveniently cutting me off before I go on a full anti-AI rant. Now I could have stopped here, but I believe in greed and decided to keep on going on the off chance I could find some more. Which I did. I also found a slime, which was a little random. Overall, I left the cave with 6 diamonds, enough iron for some tools and armor, along with some gold for good luck. Once I had emerged from the cave, I was drawn to some pigs for food, but next to them was a horse. And suddenly, I had an idea. Despite being a forest, the Twilight Forest is pretty flat, and in order to find all the dungeons we will have to traverse a long distance. So what if I got a horse? I don't tend to own horses in Minecraft, as the usual terrain makes them hard to use and results in journeys taking longer with them than without them. But maybe, just this once, I would have the perfect opportunity to use a horse. So I tamed the horse, and put the saddle I got from the village on it. Don't get too attached to this horse though. With the help of my new trusty steed, I returned to the village to wait for night. A backpack requires 4 string. I do not have 4 string. I had 1 string, which I foolishly left in the depths of that cave. Acquiring the 4 string was pretty easy. I forget how easy regular mobs are in normal mode and when they're unchanged by mods. Honestly, this series so far has been quite refreshing. I usually play 300 plus mod packs, so going back to something simpler has been nice. Now that I have the backpack, I continue my pillage of the overworld as I've spotted more structures to loot. Just up from the village is a ruined nether portal, a big one. The chest contained a god apple that I've put away for safekeeping. Even further up from the nether portal is a shipwreck with so many turtles next to it. Why are there so many turtles? I have never seen this many together naturally. I thought they only spawned in like 2s or 3s. Near the shipwreck was a village, and even further up from there is a shipwreck and another village. So more wheat and such for me. That village I went to had a waystone, so I grabbed that one and went back to the first village in the savannah to grab their waystone. On my way back, I stopped at my chest to upgrade my backpack and sleep away whichever day we're on now. I want these waystones so I can have one for my base and one for somewhere else in case I get into trouble and need to make a quick getaway. While doing this, I saw more horses. While observing them, as I often do, I noticed that one seemed quicker than my first. I approached the horse, and after much persuasion I tamed the horse. For I am a cruel woman who values stats above all else. This horse was to be my new steed. After giving my old horse abandonment issues, I began to make my portal, forgetting that I need water for that, and that I don't have a bucket. After rectifying this, I dug the hole, and added the water, surrounded it with blue orchids I got from the swamp as they're my favourite flower, and finally I chucked the diamond in. The lightning struck, and our adventure can now truly begin. Once I get my horse through the portal. Yeah, I can't do anything cool, I always ruin it with dumb stuff like this. But the horse got through fine, as did I. Welcome to the Twilight Forest. Who knows what adventure awaits us here? First things first is to dump my valuables in the chest, as running around strange new lands with them doesn't seem like my smartest plan. Using my genius horse strategy, I mapped out the surrounding area. The massive lich tower right next to the portal is easy enough to find. but there's also a snow biome to the west of us, a dark forest to the southeast of us, and the final plateau is nearby along with a swamp a bit further ahead. Luckily for us, there are 2 Naga areas near us. This will be the first creature that we slay. Twilight Forest has a very linear progression. We must kill one boss to unlock the next area and gain the supplies we need to defeat the next one. Rinse and repeat until we reach the final castle. I also learned that the horse strategy was not as good as I thought it would be, so I fell down a hole. Got some diamonds out of it though. Also rivers. They are a thing. As much as I would like to, we cannot jump straight into the Naga fight. We must first do some prep work. This includes returning to the overworld already to kill more spiders, and herding chickens into a hole. Exciting, isn't it? Also ignore the horseman, he's happy there. While staring at my chickens, I realised this would take way too long to get arrows from them. So I once again consulted my trusty map where I spotted a maze. So I headed there and slayed the wolves and spiders for the loot. The loot wasn't amazing, but this wasn't a particularly difficult dungeon. The mobs are fairly weak and the maze is simple. But I did get a golden apple out of it along with the arrows I was after. A cool thing about these mazes is that you can't cheese it. The bushes that make up its walls are a special type of leaves that will damage you if you stand on them. I think it's a nice touch. Shows how much thought went into such a small dungeon. Heading back from the maze, I beat up these skeleton guys for potatoes. Once I had returned home, I used one of my 2 diamond toes I got from that maze to set up a small farm, namely to provide seeds for my chickens. I then used my bonus diamonds that I got from falling down that hole to craft a sword. I do have Spartan Weaponry in this mod pack as it applies some new weapons to the Twilight Forest ores. But instead of making something cool, I just made a basic sword. Eagle-eyed viewers may have spotted Farmer's Delight plants in my inventory. This is because there is a Twilight Forest add-on for it. I thought both these mods would be cool to add in, because when else am I going to use them? Now that I have my shiny new sword and the bow I got from killing spiders, I can head off to the Naga's lair. Entering in the most elegant of ways, I stared face to face with this beast before jumping in. No turning back now. The first stage of the fight is simple. The Naga will circle you before charging. Holding a shield up will stun it, allowing you to get some free hits in. As the Naga takes damage, it will lose parts of its tail. These will explode, dealing damage, so we have to be mindful to avoid them. With each segment lost, the Naga will gain speed. After losing around half its health, it enters the second phase, for it is angry now. The shield stuns no longer work, and it's a lot quicker. From this point on, I put those arrows to good use, dealing most of the damage with that while trying to block and evade its strikes. Until I finally land the last hit, killing the serpent for good. My reward? Its head, the first of many trophies, along with its precious scales used to craft Naga armor. This armor is special as it comes with built-in enchants. This added protection will be crucial in our upcoming battles. With the battle hard won, I headed back to the pile of chests I call home, to prepare for our next battle against whatever, or whoever, resides at the top of that tower. Picking up from where we left off, I returned to the overworld to save my old horse with the saddle I got from the maze. This did not go as smoothly as last time. When I entered the portal, my horse was gone. Luckily, after returning and re-entering the portal, the horse was there. Guess it has to get its revenge somehow. I placed it in the same hole as my other horse, so while not abandoned, he does now have an inferiority complex. I'm not going to permanently mistreat my horses, as my first goal today is to build a house. Once I have a nice house, I can continue my quest to slay all the bosses. I mostly want the house so I have somewhere for my trophies. I can't really leave them on the floor like this. To prepare for the house, I flattened out the area near the portal to give us a nice smooth base to work from. I want a medium-sized house. In order to get that, I will have to gather a lot of resources. To start this, I travelled on horseback to the Highlands in order to get some spruce saplings. I could have gone with a snowy biome, but I prefer my chances with the acid rain over the yetis and winter wolves. And yes, I did say acid rain. In order to prevent you from going to biomes you're not ready for yet, there are various environmental blocks removed by killing various bosses. For the final area, it's this acid rain, the swamp is guarded by mosquitoes, the icy biome is covered in by a blizzard, etc, etc. Since this is designed to limit the resources available to us, getting the spruce was a bit of a pain. Another fun detail is that when you go somewhere you're not meant to, a kobold is spawned carrying a book. You kill the kobold and retrieve the book, you are treated to an adventurer's diary that tells you what you have to do before you can enter that area. I like when the tutorials are organically built into the world like this. One of the most important things I needed to make was this chipped bench. This mod adds a bunch of variations for most blocks. I was only introduced to this mod recently, but it's quickly become one of my favourite vanilla-esque building mods. Mostly because of the trapdoors. I really like the trapdoors. To save myself from having to push my horse across the river, I built a little bridge to the other side. Nothing fancy, just slabs of wood. Since my saplings weren't growing quickly enough, I decided to head to the overworld in order to gather some wood and such there. While peacefully chopping down a tree, I got to listen to my friends play League of Legends.
You're dead. You're dead. You're dead. You're dead. You're dead. You're dead. You're dead.
No! He took me to Brazil! He took me to Brazil! No! No!
Yeah.
You know, in any other situation, I would have to go with him. That Shaka is really f***ing annoying, and I hope he dies. If he took less time to yap and more time to actually play the game, we wouldn't be that far behind.
Why do you keep calling me?
Be nice to your mother.
At least they're having fun. I think. While in the overworld, I also grabbed some sand and gravel for concrete, because boy are we going to need concrete. Returning to the Twilight Forest, as I was clearing roots around my base, I remembered the existence of ironwood, made using live root, a gold nugget, and iron ore. This set is about the same as iron, but since it's magical, it has the built-in enchants that will better protect us. So like any sensible person, I mined a bunch of this and made ironwood tools and armor. Still in the mining mood, I mined a whole load of cobblestone that I can turn into stone bricks for the foundations of my house. Once I grew bored of watching saplings grow, I geared up and mounted my horse once more to go to the second Naga. With the scales from the first Naga, I was able to get the chest plate but not the leggings. So I had to redo the whole fight again to get them. Fortunately, I learnt from my mistakes last time and completed it more smoothly. I'll skip the epic battle music this time, but you can always watch the first episode to get the full experience. Securing myself the scales I needed, I could craft the leggings, giving myself protection 3 and an advancement. I also got another Naga head, so my old one won't be lonely. Still feeling productive, I headed over to the small hollow hill near my base. One of the easiest ways to get a lot of resources here in the Twilight Forest is to enter one of these. While they appear on the surface to be regular hills, they are actually a dungeon containing lots of ores, treasures, and mobs. There are 3 sizes to these hills. The larger it is, the more dangerous it is, but the more treasure it contains. I was in the mood for a full-on scrap, so I mined my way through the top few layers of the mountain, scoring myself a few stacks of coal and iron. This is more than enough for me to start working on my house without having to worry about not having an axe. This also means I can now show you the house. I actually designed the base of this house for a different modded server I was on that also had a fantasy theme. So obviously I wanted to build one of those cool, vaguely medieval houses that have been popular lately. Thing is I never got to use it properly, mostly because I couldn't decide on a roof. So I kinda stole the roof from this building, but not really because I took off all the things that make this roof cool. I think this is why I've gotten better at building, especially in the past year or so. I finally got over myself and started using other people's builds as references, so I learnt loads of new techniques that I could then use in my own builds. A big lesson I learnt is that more is more. If the build looks flat, just keep adding stuff to it. That's what I did with this build. It looked plain and flat, so I added the spruce columns, put trapdoors everywhere until it finally looked right. The one skill I still haven't learnt is texturing, where you add other blocks to walls to make them look more interesting. It's not that hard in theory, I'm just really bad at making it look natural. But I'm going to keep practicing, and maybe in another year or so I'll be even better at building. And hopefully better at time lapses, because this was a mess to stitch together. I was kind of tired while building this, so I kept forgetting to hit record or to stop recording. But I think I salvaged it to give you the final product. I was so locked in trying to finish this that my hand was starting to get pins and needles in it from holding my mouse for too long. Which was very worth it, as I think it came out quite nicely. There are still some little bits and pieces here and there that need doing for it to be truly finished, not mentioning all the bits of terraforming and such I'll need to do around the place for it to look like it belongs. Also, the inside is completely empty. But hey, at least my Naga schools have somewhere to live now. I also made way too much concrete, so I guess I'll have to build a summer house or something. To start with the decorations of my house, I built a stove and a kettle, because I am nothing if not a British stereotype. Thanks to Farmer's Respite, a Farmer's Delight add-on, we can use a chopping board to chop up some roses into rose hips. These can then be placed in a kettle with water over a heat source to brew rose hip tea. I'm not just brewing this because I enjoy the casual comforts of the overworld, I'm brewing this because it provides 10 seconds of regeneration. Hopefully this will help me survive the tower for at least a few minutes. Alongside my tea party, I called my chicken hole for feathers to craft arrows. And with that, my preparations are complete and I'm ready to take on the tower. The tower is broken up into the main chamber and then several side rooms. To get to the Lich, I have to climb to the top of the tower while destroying mob spawners and killing books. This didn't go as well as I had hoped. Turns out books do a lot of damage for some reason. Also, skeletons suck still. I'd like to take back all my confidence from the last episode because combat is hard, modded or not. After some running back and forth in and out of the tower, I finally made some progress destroying the spawners. As I went up the tower, I blocked off the rest of the side rooms as I didn't want to be jumped from the side while fighting. Once the main tower was completed, I approached the top floor and the Lich appeared before me, before inviting his friends to the party. Like the Naga, this fight has stages. This is the first. The Lich and his clones will attack you with magic and fireballs. This was the very hardest part of the fight. The fireballs did a lot of damage and I wasn't regenerating very quickly even with my tea. As you can see, the Lich is surrounded by a shield. The shield makes him completely invulnerable. After so many hits, the shield will break, allowing us to damage him. This is a lot easier said than done, especially when they chase you out of the main room. I decided that the best thing to do is to lure them back up into the main room. But they didn't follow. So, like any sensible person, I broke a hole in the floor and started shooting. This allowed me to deflect his attacks, destroying his shield, and get the first few hits on him as we entered the second stage. The clones are gone now, and instead are replaced by zombie minions that gave me quite a fright when they first spawned. Soon after this phase started, he teleported back into the room and forced me to fight him, face to face. This phase went a lot quicker than the last, as I largely ignored the zombies and targeted the Lich himself. Leaving us with the last phase. The Lich stitches the magic and charges us with a sword. Like any sane person, I tried to keep my distance from the madman with a sword, and pinned him into a hole, dealing the last of the damage. The Lich of the Twilight Forest was dead. The forest is freed from his curse, and his head will make a fine decoration in my house. Alongside the skull, I got a Twilight Scepter. The Sapphire's magic bolts. There are 4 in total, all doing different things, so if I feel really insane, I can pursue the other towers in order to complete the set. After my victory, I tamed a dog, bringing my house up to 3 decorations. The dog will also need a name at some point. So will the horses, probably. I'm not naming the chickens, I'm not that attached to them. But anyways, now that the Lich is dead, we can do one of 3 things. We can fight the Hydra, the Urgas, or the Snow Queen. I'm going to follow the original progression by fighting the Hydra first. To do this, we must find the labyrinth deep within the swamp and slay the prisoner within. All this and more in the next episode. A last little something before you go. The tower was on fire during this. I don't know how or what caused it. The Lich hadn't been summoned yet, so it wasn't him. And I don't think it was lightning, it was just burning for some reason? Anyway, hope you enjoyed and have a good night and all that. Now that the Lich is dead, 3 paths have opened up before me. One leads to the swamp and the ferocious Hydra, one leads us to the depths of the dark forest to face the Urgast, and the other leads us to the dazzling castle of the Snow Queen. If we wish to complete the Twilight Forest, we must follow all these paths to break the curse on the Highlands and enter the White Castle. I have decided that today we are a Greek hero and will pursue the Hydra. Unfortunately for us, the Hydra's lair is located within the fiery swamp. Any foolish adventurer who steps foot in there will be burnt to a crisp. To get around this, we must enter the labyrinth and navigate its twisting paths to the Minosh room. Flying Kim will give us Meath Stroganoff, which when consumed will give us the fire resistance we need. With our path set before us, we must first deal with some supply chain issues. The first of this is moving the chickens into their new and improved pen. Not quite free range despite their best attempts, but they have some space to move around, for now. Along with this, I set up a small farm next to them to provide me with some basic crops. Now that food and feathers have been taken care of for now, I mounted my horse and galloped our way to the swamp. I had only briefly been past it due to their mosquito problem, but now that has been dealt with, we can enter freely in order to locate these hill things. These are the entrances to the labyrinth. I also had to wander up to the fiery swamp, not entering as I don't think barbecued jay would taste very nice. The other big hill thing is the Hydra's lair. So nice of it to live within such convenient distance. The next part of our tale, something akin to a tragedy strikes. Last episode, you may remember me entering a hollow hill for ore. Well, I was minding my business doing that again in one of the large hollow hills. I'm running low on gold for golden apples. See what I mean by supply chain issues? Anyway, while minding my gold, I was attacked by a wraith, and then another wraith, until I was knocked from my ledge and mercilessly killed by the wraiths. To add insult to injury, I had to use my other horse to get back there, but my stuff was successfully retrieved. God, do I love the GraveStone Mod. I went home to brew myself some tea to calm my nerves, and for the regen. After that poor encounter, I decided to make some new diamond armor and an iron hammer. The diamond armor worked as wonderfully as usual, while the iron hammer has been left to rust in my tools chest. You win some, you lose some, I guess. These cows lost some as I kidnapped them from the bright, sunny overworld to come live in the dark Twilight Forest. It's finally time to upgrade my food source. I can't live on bread forever. I think my poor diet has contributed to some of my struggles in the past. So once I had so many animals that they were an entity cramming risk, I slaughtered them all and cooked up some nice juicy steak. With our supply chains issues solved for now, it was time to enter the labyrinth. A large underground maze filled with strange bugs, minotaurs, and maze slimes? Okay. This labyrinth has 2 floors, so step 1 is fight our way to the entrance down, while looting all the chests. Obviously. The loot here is pretty nice, and I'm sure the minotaurs won't miss it. I'm sure they also won't miss their torches. After clearing the coast, I carry on down to the final lair. This time we're looking for the center of the maze, somewhere beyond the evil bugs that set me on fire and the one that tried to suffocate me in a wall. I usually like bugs. I do not like these ones. Throughout the winding corridors are trapped chests that I only detonated on accident once or twice. Okay, I blew up 3 of them. But this destruction did lead me to the center prison for the Minotaur, the larger mushroom version of the Minotaurs we met earlier. Like them, it has a charge-up attack, which also means it can be cheesed as easily by not entering its pen and shooting it. Yeah, this is probably the easiest fight. Regardless, like Theseus before us, we have slayed the Minotaur and gained another trophy for the collection. Now we just have to get back out. Once home, I place the head upon the pedestal in my newly renovated trophy room. It's not very fancy, but it does the job. Along with my shiny axe and head, I can warm my spirits with some meat stroganoff, acclimatizing ourselves to the fiery swamps. With this, we can now face our next opponent, the Hydra. After we get some gravel, I need to resupply again. I used a lot more arrows than I thought I would in that maze, and my shields have taken a lot of damage. So I made a new shield and stole some books from the Lich's tower. He's dead now, he won't miss them. Using some obsidian from that nether portal, I made an enchanting table. My enchants kinda suck, but hopefully they'll do their job and provide me with some added protection. I also made 4 stacks of arrows, so this will probably last me like 2 more fights before I have to make more. Hopefully. Regardless, it is time to complete the Herculean task of slaying the Hydra. As I said earlier in the episode, the Hydra lives in this big half-hill. As I approach, I get my first glimpse of the large dragon-like creature with 3 heads. Its bright magenta eyes staring me down tells me quite clearly that it has also seen me. Well, I guess there's no running now. The only way to continue down this path is straight ahead into the Hydra's lair. Its attacks are simple. It will launch 3 fireballs that will keep moving until they make contact and explode. If you get too close, it will rain fire down upon you, and if you're stupid enough to get even closer, it will launch one of its 3 heads at you and bite down with its mighty fangs. All these attacks have the ability to wipe you out in one fell swoop, so the solution is to not get hit. A bit easier said than done. Multiple heads can launch attacks at the same time. You can't look away and you can't stand still. My strategy was to run around like a headless chicken while trying to deflect the fireballs back at him. Clearly I am not blessed by Apollo, nor am I blessed by whichever god stops you from falling in holes. I did this like twice. Definitely not part of an optimal strategy. Regardless, I did a fair bit of damage with the fireballs until one of the heads dies. Now the Hydra isn't merely a multi-headed serpent, there's plenty of those. Now what makes the Hydra special is its ability to regrow its heads. Strike one down, 2 more appear in its place, just as capable of attacking and just as deadly. During this fight I've been trying to spread the damage and not focus a single head, so I don't wind up with too many that I become overwhelmed and can't keep up. But if you're feeling truly masochistic, you can target each head and wind up with 7 in total to deal with. I, however, only accept that treatment from pretty women, so I tried to minimize the amount of heads that formed, and went right back to knocking the fireballs back at him. Until the final one landed and the Hydra was dead. Took this guy a minute to die. Guess that's what happens when you have so many heads. The left where he once stood was our 4th trophy, some meat and blood. Now that I think about it, this is a little gory compared to the others. But this isn't our only reward, as the hill is full of ore. Nothing too special, mostly iron, coal and copper, none of which we're particularly short on. But I did head home to grab some blocks to get gold and diamonds. They're 2 diamonds, but thanks to fortune we're actually 4 diamonds. I also fell down the hole again. It is a wonder how I've managed to make it this far in life. Grosses aside, I sure did a number on the landscape around here. All those fireballs I dodged had to go somewhere. I just hope the Hydra doesn't sue me for property damage. With some more, I rode my horse home. I could have definitely taken more and might do in the future, but honestly I just don't really need it right now. Arriving back in my place, I beelined for my trophy room, eager to put my trophy on display. Unfortunately, the Hydra doesn't look as good as the others on my display rack. It clips even more than the Minotaur's horns. But putting my interior decorating to the side for a minute, I can use the Hydra blood to craft fiery ingots. When crafted into armor, they have a chance to set your opponent on fire. I said there's a chance that it can set your opponent on fire. There we go. Now instead of fighting a regular zombie, you can fight a burning one. The odds of lighting an opponent on fire is pretty small with only 1 piece, but I opted for leggings since my Naga ones have seen better days. Definitely because of that and not because I don't have enough for a chestplate. I'll need to replace that with something else at a later date. The troubles that come with armor. I suppose I should get on and decorate this house while someone, or something, waits for us in the forest at the end of our next path. Today we take the second path into the dark forest. A large, densely wooded area hiding many beasts and creatures. Beneath the woodland floor lies a lost but not forgotten stronghold. The original inhabitants are long gone but have instead been replaced by goblins and kobolds. We fight our way through the corridors, we arrive at a tomb, still haunted by those who remember what this stronghold was for. Good evening, mortals. My name is Jay, and welcome to my studio. Before we get to tormenting the already dead, we should do some home improvements. I built this house back in episode 2, and it's still a little empty. I went in the creative world and designed a cute interior. I then abandoned this plan because I built the staircases differently in this house than I did in the original, and then completely forgot about this, so my new plan was kind of useless. Regardless, we turned this empty room into a slightly less empty kitchen and living room, while we turned this dirt into a state-of-the-art enchanting room. Yeah, it kind of occurred to me that I had nowhere to put an enchanting table, and the middle of the room was not an option, so I had to dig a basement for it. Also, do you like my tables? I'm very proud of them. I used the railings added by the Twilight Forest to make the legs, and then I used trapdoors for the tabletop. I think they turned out very cute. These took like all my brain power, so the rest of the room is quite simple. Sort of a rehash of this basic kitchen design I've been enjoying, but I enjoy it because it works so well. It also leads to me having enough space for a little doggy corner. He has his whittle doggy bone and a whittle doggy bed. I think this dog has a better bedroom than me. Which isn't hard, I don't really need a bedroom when it's perpetually twilight and I can't even sleep. The dark forest where the goblin stronghold is located is, dark? This makes the stronghold easy to miss. To try and prevent this, I chased down one of the crows outside my house. Well, I tried to make this easy, he certainly didn't, but his struggle was in vain and I still got him in the end. Bastard didn't drop his feather though. It's fine, his friend saw the futility in his struggle and quickly gave me his feather. Combined with the glowstone and the torchberry, these feathers can be turned into a magic map focus. When used to write on a map, they will mark the locations of structures. This is a magic map. However, it works kinda weirdly. Despite using it outside the forest, it made the forest the edge. I don't know, I guess I'm just lucky there was a stronghold near the edge. I think I'm going to fill out the rest of the map and hang it up somewhere. Thankfully, the Hydra fight didn't drain many of my resources, so I can skip the part of the video where I have to go resupply some important resource like I have done in the past episodes. No, this time I'm actually prepared so we can suit up and head for the dark forest. I skipped the horse this time as there's nowhere safe to put him. The Goblin Stronghold is a unique location. As to enter, you need to place one of the previous trophy heads onto this pedestal to open the entrance to the dungeon. I also forgot to bring the head initially. Professional gamer me, but once it was open I entered via an elegant dirt staircase. This place was probably harder than the labyrinth, as the labyrinth is fairly simple with only 2 floors and the fact that the ministry room was always on the 2nd floor. The knights are not so courteous, as their room can spawn anywhere across multiple floors. At least their chests aren't trapped and I can't blow myself up again. Don't worry, I tried. Although some of the chests are hidden behind staircases and little box things. Also the bugs are back. Yippee! But look, my armor did set him on fire. And these little goblin guys, aren't they so cute with their big mace? Oops, he's dead. I got an infinity and unbreaking bow, which is a lucky find. I guess all those chickens died for nothing. The dungeon also provided me with a free anvil that I got very excited about, completely forgetting that I already have one at home. So now I have 2 at home. After several minutes of walking into dead ends, so many dead ends, I finally found the entrance to the Phantom Knight's tomb. Like the ministry room, I kinda cheesed this one by standing outside the room and shooting. However, it wasn't as effective this time. These guys take turns manifesting and charging up to deliver their attack. The attack changes based on what they're holding. I was struck with a sword, but they can also throw axes at you or scatter hose. While they have one big boss bar, they are separate entities that have to be killed once at a time. Thankfully not spawning more this time, I say while side-eyeing the Hydra. So I kept shooting till I killed all 6 of them and can claim my newest trophy and some rather nice armor. You can tell we're getting serious when the game starts giving you such strong armor and weapons. This is probably the most substantial upgrade we've gotten this far. While in the grave robbing mood, I destroyed the tombs hoping for another chest, but there wasn't. So I've probably been cursed for nothing if I wasn't already cursed already. Also while leaving, I realised that this could have been done so much quicker if I just went down the other corridor. The tomb was like right next to the entrance, I didn't have to spend so much time walking around. But I reclaimed my head and bunny hopped my way home, the things I do without my horse. Also, deer are really loud for some reason. Nothing else is this loud, it's just the deer. But despite this distraction, I got the trophy home back safe, and we can tick another enemy off the list. To celebrate my victory, I combined my bows together to make an even more powerful bow, and slaughtered some chickens. I don't really need so many now that I have infinity. I also separated them from my cows, which I do still need. With my farmyard successfully rearranged, we can head back to the Dark Forest. Instead of fighting the Mist Wolves, Druids, and other base game mob, I opted to traverse the treetops and take the coward's way to the Dark Forest Centre. In the centre of the centre is a dark tower, and before we go inside, I'd like to take a moment to appreciate how cool this looks. All the dungeons in this mod look really cool in their own ways, but this one is just so imposing. Like all the dungeons, I enter through another elegant dirt staircase onto a balcony and into the tower. So this tower is big, like really big, the largest structure by far. What takes up the bulk of this tower are the large rooms filled with strange contraptions. If you pull the lever, they generate a bridge. You use these bridges to cross the platforms, gradually making your way up to the top. Sounds simple, right? Wrong, they are incredibly finicky and require parkouring across the lights and hitting the lever at just the right angle to get where you want. Why don't you just build up, you ask? You can't, the tower blocks you from building in certain places, so you have to use the bridges. Unlike previous dungeons where you just have to find the boss and get out, to make it up the tower you have to explore almost every nook and cranny, in order to find 4 tower keys that will allow you to progress to the next floor. Due to whatever happened at this tower, the ground and walls are a little uneven in places. While climbing the tower, be sure to watch out for the ghasts outside that will shoot you through the holes. And the spiders, creepers, etc. A lot of things want you dead here. But the loot is pretty nice. Did somebody say diamond backpack? The room with the first locked door had these weird water columns that quickly filled with squid. Since this is hardly a habitable environment for most aquatic life, they died pretty quickly, leaving ink sacs on the ground. It wasn't until I got home that I realised how many ink sacs I had. Quite the impressive kill count. Upon finding 4 of the tower keys, you place them into their spots on the door and open it up. The doors in this place are really cool, and using the boss drops you can build your own. Opening this door allows you to climb even higher into another one of these parkour contraption rooms. Many chests and another locked door later, I finally got to the final contraption room. Much to my embarrassment, I fell a few times trying to beat this room, but I made it to the top in what will never be called record time. After a quick IRL tea break, my game crashed. I believe they call this foreshadowing in the business, as this was the hardest fight so far. At the top of the tower waits the Ergast, an incredibly large ghast. Who knows what purpose it was created for? But what I do know is that it barely fits on the crafting menu UI. On the 4 sides of the tower are these things called gas traps. You are meant to kill the gaslings that spawn around it and then use the charged trap to damage the Ergast. The gas traps are powered by redstone and a pressure plate. However, the pressure plates got blown up almost immediately, so I couldn't trigger the traps. So I took a quick break home to grab some more of my own, not realising how quickly I would be back home again. I only remembered the last part of how the traps worked and got very frustrated on why the traps weren't charging. This unfortunately led to my second death. While trying to charge and dispense the traps, you must dodge the fireballs launched by the Ergast and the ghasts that guard the tower. In the second phase, at around half health, the ghast starts crying, damaging anyone below it. Although this made for a very loud boss fight. I think I could go my whole life never hearing another ghast again. But now that I know what I'm meant to be doing, the fight got a little easier. Not by much though. Still, I triggered the traps correctly and finished the Ergast for good. However, there is no celebrating near the chests this time, as the other ghasts are still very much there, and still very angry. So now that I'm undercover, I can show off the cool trophy. This one is unique as the tendrils still move. Getting out of the tower was another challenge. Going up the platforms is hard, but there is no way down them. So obviously I did it with grace and style. Several long falls later and we're finally out of here and can sprint across the canopy home. The Dark Tower definitely lives up to its name, and I hope I never have reason to return. Back at home I used the fiery tears to create more fiery ingots, just like I did with the fiery blood. This time I made boots that I enchanted with Feather Falling 4, using the books from the tower. If the tower has taught me anything, it is that we definitely need Feather Falling, and a larger storage room as I have once again hit capacity. With that to sort, I added another trophy to the wall. We're almost there, just 3 more trophies left. We'll need to wrap up one for the next 2 as we're headed for the snowy forest. A few snowflakes were falling, and the largest flake of all was alighted on the edge of one of the flower boxes. This flake grew bigger and bigger until at last it turned into a woman, who was dressed in the finest white gauze which looked as if it had been made from millions of star-shaped flakes. She was beautiful and she was graceful, but she was ice shining, glittering ice. She was alive for all that, and her eyes sparkled like 2 bright stars. But in them was neither rest nor peace. The Snow Queen hides away in the Aurora Palace, marking the final path for us to follow. Before we can meet the illustrious Snow Queen, we must first face off against the Alpha Yeti, a large and destructive beast that hides within the caves in the snowy forest. Will we thwart the ape-like beast, or will we succumb to the cold of the snowy forest? Finishing the business we left unattended last week, I reorganized my chest to give us some more space. Thankfully, the Yeti won't require us making anything special for this fight. All I did was enchant a spare bow so we could use it to upgrade my main bow to power 3. The first step is to slaying the Alpha Yeti is to find one. First, we have to go to a snowy forest. It's exactly as described. It's a forest that's snowy. Pretty easy to identify. I hope this little cape thingy will be enough to keep me warm while we explore. I mean, my legs will be fine. If I stub my toe, my legs will be set on fire. Or will the table be set on fire? Let's just hope it happens to the Yeti this time. The Alpha Yeti is a dime a dozen. If you've found a snow biome, you've probably found at least 4 of them. The one I'm going to is right here, just behind my house. Instead of charging in through the front, I'm going to go round the back and enter here. This is because the Yeti cave just sticks out into the surrounding biomes, so no one will give us any trouble as we enter. The Alpha Yeti caves is probably just as you've imagined it. It's a cave with ice and Yetis in it. Yetis are a unique mob as they'll grab you and throw you if you get too close, but other than that they are content to leave you be as long as you do the same. So unlike the Urghast, we don't have to worry about the Alpha Yeti's companions as much. We just have to make sure we don't stand too close. Which I absolutely did. The Yeti is immune to arrows in its first phase. In this state, it will chuck ice bombs at us that will freeze anything near it. This means we have to get up close and personal to land some sword hits. After a few hits, the Alpha Yeti starts flailing around. Getting too near means getting hit, just like these poor baby Yetis. While doing this, chunks of ice fall from the ceiling, damaging anyone below. So there's a lot to dodge while shooting the Alpha Yeti. Good thing I'm a pro at strafing. Once his tantrum was over, he sat down to have a little cry. When he felt better, he stood back up and we repeated the process, only this time I was caught and thrown. Fortunately, I didn't take too much damage thanks to those feather-falling boots I made last episode, so I could go right back to shooting, swiftly defeating the Alpha Yeti. This was another case of grab the loot and run, as I don't fancy being thrown anymore. Safely outside, we can check out our cool new trophy. I think this one's my favourite, it's just so long and wide. I think if this was the quickest boss fight to date, I expected it to go on for a while, but it didn't. I guess I've just become that powerful. Although I shouldn't let this get to my head, as we still have 3 more challenges ahead of us. The next of these challenges is the Snow Queen hidden away in the Aurora Palace. But before we get whisked away by her, look at my newest trophy on the wall. It's a little sad to see it almost full, but I am a little proud. I also have to get another barrel, I can't just keep rearranging them. What are these barrels for? They hold the other stuff from the bosses, so dungeon blocks and other boss drops, keeps them all nice and organised. Like most of the mob drops, the Yeti's fur can be used to make Alpha Yeti armour, a ridiculous looking set of armour that is just better than diamond. Along with this, it basically has the opposite effect as the fire ingot armour, where it has a chance to freeze the attacker instead of lighting them on fire. I made a helmet out of it because it's iconic, and also because the fire prot 1 on my old helmet isn't going to help us up against the Snow Queen. So once I prepare some more food, we are ready to take on the Snow Queen. The Snowy Forest is multi-layered. On the outside this is the Snowy Forest, but on the inside it's the Icy Glacier. A massive lump of ice with a castle on top. If we want to fight the Snow Queen, we have to make our way to the top of the glacier. Cue the ice digging montage. The walls of the palace were driven snow. The windows and doors were knife-edged wind. There were more than 100 halls shaped as the snow had drifted, and the largest of these extended for many a mile. All were lighted by the flare of the northern lights. All of the halls were so immense and so empty, so brilliant and so glacial. I'd argue that this description seems accurate. Like the Urghast and Lich's Tower, we have to work our way through the many chambers to the top where the Snow Queen awaits us. And oh boy was this place fun. I swear it was more confusing than the actual labyrinth. So much up and down. Also, this place was way more paranoia-inducing than the Urghast Tower, which was meant to be creepy. You won't see any mobs for ages and suddenly you'll find all of them huddled in a room together. Speaking of mobs, there are 3 types that you'll encounter in the Aurora Castle. The ghost armor that will float along and attack you. They're slow and kinda stupid, so they're not that hard to deal with. Can't hold it against them, they are dead after all. The next are the stable ice calls. They shoot snowballs at you that knock you back, but then also not too much to worry about. The last guys are the ones to worry about since they explode. When an unstable ice core dies, he freaks out a bit and then he explodes, changing the blocks around him. For the most part, these guys are pretty weak on their own, but when you run into a bunch of them at once or when they knock you down, they can pose a bit of a threat. Still, despite their best efforts, I made it through the tower, scoring some nice weapons along the way. One of these being the glass sword. Now, can you guess the gimmick of the incredibly powerful glass sword is? It breaks when you use it. Guess who forgot this? Cue a lot of internal screaming. This, kids, is why you always check your wiki. But it's fine, I got another one, so now it sits above my bed. Is having an incredibly powerful sword that can one-tap me hanging above my bed a smart idea? Probably not, but I don't sleep anyway. The benefits to the unstable ice crystal is that it turns the walls to glass, so you can both break through them easier and also admire the view. Many explosions and towers later, we finally arrive at this ice ceiling. The Snow Queen is above us. First, we just have to break through these layers and layers of ice. I hope she doesn't mind that I accidentally flooded her tower in places. Eventually, we reach the top room. Like all the bosses, she has phases. In the first phase, she will fly around overhead and spawn these ice crystals to attack you. They go down quite easily, so you can focus on shooting her in the face. At half health, she uses her flying platform to smash down onto the ground, hopefully crushing you in the process. During one of these attacks, she got a little stuck on the broken floor and I could just shoot her with ease, finally putting the Snow Queen to rest. What was left of her was a lot of ice and snow with Seeker Bow and the trophy. Far prettier than the Yetis. Instead of trying to navigate the 300 rooms again, I decided to take the elegant way out. Water column down the side, but this got me to my true prize. A penguin. I love penguins, they're great little birds, and the Twilight Forest has some of the best penguin designs I've seen, so obviously I wanted one. I took this little fellow who was sort of on the edge of the group, so they won't miss him. His name is Petunia the Penguin. I've only had him for 5 minutes, but crap, I've already lost him. Okay, so the baby proofing on the stairs didn't work, so now he lives with the horses. I'll make him an igloo or something to live in. God knows I have enough snow for that now. As for the trophy, it joins the wall with the rest, only one left now. Alongside the trophy was the Seeker Bow. The Snow Queen can drop one of 3. The Ender Bow that causes you to swap places with the target, the Seeker Bow that shoots a homing arrow, or the Tri-Bow that shoots 3 shots at once. Another weapon exclusive to the Snowy Forest are the Snow Bombs, dropped by both the Alpha Yeti and the Snow Queen, places snow on the ground and causes the same freeze effect that the Alpha Yeti's attacks do. I'm sure all these unique weapons will come in handy in the final installment of our Twilight Forest adventure. Last episode I left off in my house and now I am here, 1400 blocks away from home on a quest. A quest for a questing ram, a large ram which desires wool. This ram resides in the Enchanted Forest, the rarest of all the biomes in the Twilight Forest. Hence this lengthy journey to find it. I am cheating a little bit by using the Nature's Compass, but is it really cheating if this is exactly what it's for? Although it did take me in the direction I didn't want to go, which was towards the Dark Forest, as I had to go around it. I am many things, but I'm not stupid enough to try and ride a horse through an evil forest. When I finally arrived, I looked for the stone circle area, as inside is the questing ram. The biome itself is gorgeous, and the spiral grass is such a unique detail you may not notice from the ground level. Inside the ruin is a dispenser that contains a few colours of wool. Be careful when dispensing this, as apparently you can just pick them up. I didn't know this. The goal of the questing ram is to provide him with 1 wool of each colour. Behind the scenes of the series, I've been gathering what wool I can from the colourful rams that replaced regular sheep here in the Twilight Forest. Unfortunately, I didn't get all the wool I needed, as I'm still missing yellow, white, purple, and lime green. Nothing a little plant magic can't solve. Now I have all 16 wools, we can head back to the questing ram. A lot quicker this time. To give him the wool, you simply click on him with it in your hand. The little tick or X will show you if you can give it to him or not. When he receives all 16 wool, he spits out a bundle and crumble horn while glowing all magically. Inside the bundle is 1 block of each ore and the final trophy. The crumble horn crumbles things, like this dirt is now crumbled. I'm not sure how useful this is, but I'm sure someone who is far smarter than me has come up with a use for these. Now that we have our rewards, we can make our way back home. On the way there, I saw this weird stone square and decided to investigate. It's a goblin stronghold like the one from episode 4, except it's generated right on the edge of the forest. So now it sticks out a bit and is completely broken. Like, look at all these random walls and stuff. After witnessing that anomaly, I can place my ram head on the armor stand, completing my collection of trophies. So is this where the video ends? Series over, that's it? Nope, we have loads to do, we just aren't rewarded with a trophy for it. At this point, we have finished the majority of the Twilight Forest, as we've killed all 8 of the currently implemented bosses. Now that we have killed everything, we can access the Highlands. If you cast your mind back to episode 1, you may remember me entering there to get some spruce wood, while being burnt by the acid rain. Well, we don't need our umbrella anymore, as we can access the Highlands freely. In the centre of the Highlands is the White Castle. Everything we're about to do is in order to get the cinder lamp that can burn the thorns and let us enter the castle. The first thing we have to do is find some magic beans. Magic beans are kept inside the obsidian vault located in the Troll Caverns under the Highlands biome. The Troll Caverns are an elaborate cave system filled with trolls and witches, alongside all the vanilla mobs you'd expect in a cave. So glad that I am spared from the bugs this time. The caves are entered through holes on the surface. I got lucky as this cave led me straight to the cavern, but very often you'll be not so lucky, and may prefer to tunnel straight down and save yourself a headache. The caves are filled with trollstein, this weird looking ore. It changes colour based on the light level. If the ore is light purple, then no mobs can spawn. If it's dark purple, then mobs can spawn. This is honestly a really cool gimmick, and I don't think I've seen anywhere else, at least not like this. Alongside the trollstein is a trolliver, a root-like thing that grows these blue fruits. When a troll dies near them, they start glowing, providing a unique way to light up paths to the cave. The caves are also filled with regular ores, which I don't mind helping myself to. Here's the obsidian vault. It's not much to look at, but it lives inside the large chambers of the troll caverns. And inside is the magic beans we are looking for, plus some nice extras. While I didn't trade a cow for these, they'll still get us to where we need to be, which is high above the Highlands on top of these massive clouds. To get up there, we need a beanstalk. To get a beanstalk, we plant the magic beans in the herbaceous soil. It's a special kind of dirt here in the Highlands, and the only type of dirt that the magic beans will work on. There's quite a bit under the clouds, so you get your pick of where to grow your beanstalk. When you plant it, the ground will start glowing, and out shoots a beanstalk. It takes a minute. It takes a minute to scale the beanstalk. I wasn't lying about these clouds being high up. At the top of the beanstalk are giants, large players that chill up here. Who are they and why do they look like me? I don't know, I just like admiring my skin. With a hearty thigh, thigh, tho, thumb, they'll attempt to attack you. The big guys with swords are the strongest with a fair amount of health. The miner is the weaker one, which is a good thing because the pickaxe is the thing you want. The tools are dropped on death and keep their size when you hold them. Dragon Slayer who? Round and round and round and down the beanstalk into the troll caverns. Just next to the small vault is the large vault made up of large obsidian, only broken with a giant's pickaxe. That still takes forever despite its size. Inside the vault is the cinder lamp, a magic lamp that is the only thing capable of burning through the thorns. They first turn them into ash and then you can punch it away. If you click with it, you'll burn one thorn, but if you hold it, you'll burn a large area of thorns. Sometimes you get the roses that decorate the thorns. After a lot of burning and tarrowing later, we reach the final castle. I couldn't find the entrance, so I towered onto the bridge. I do hope the inhabitants don't mind. I picked a tower and ascended the spiralling staircase. When I reached the top, I threw open the doors to the roof courtyard and... oh, there's nothing here. Yeah, the Twilight Forest is kind of infamous for not being finished, so this is where our tale ends. However, this mod hasn't been abandoned and is still actively being worked on. Latest note from the developer say they are working on renovating older areas first before they add anything to the castle. Which is fair enough. I'm most excited to see what they do with this mushroom castle. There's still loads to this mod I haven't touched on in the series, especially in terms of the tools found in the Hollow Hills. Or the spooky forest and the cemetery that I didn't find since it was a rarer biome. I've had loads of fun making this series, so I definitely recommend giving this mod a go if you haven't already, since it is a good adventure. When the time comes that this mod is actually finished, I will come back to this series to finally finish whatever big bad eventually comes to live here. I'd also recommend the add-ons for this series. I genuinely really like the Farmer's Delight mod, and the Twilight Delight mod is a nice addition with some really creative add-ons. And while Spartan Weaponry didn't pan out for me, it is still pretty cool, and I have found it really useful in other mod packs. So where does this leave us? Well, it leaves us here at this temporary endpoint. The series has been a big experiment for me, and has really pushed me out of my comfort zone. I'm on almost page 40 of this script. I've never written more than 4, so it's definitely been an adventure. I'm so glad to see that so many people have enjoyed this series, and I hope you will continue your support into the future as it means the world to me. I will be making more modded Minecraft content similar to this, so if there's a specific mod you'd like to see me cover, then please let me know down below, and I'd love to hear your suggestions. And so, as the night draws in over the Twilight Forest, I must bid you all a good night.